All right, let's do a little breakdown. See what happened today on gold, because gold had two of the best trades that I pretty much had today. I figured we go over some stuff that worked really well and some other things that didn't, but let's go ahead and just jump straight into the breakdown and see how gold reacted today. All right, starting off with the daily, we want to mark up all of those liquidity points, right? And make sure we can see where the direction of the market is going. And man, I don't know why it didn't let me change up these lines. As we can see right now, the majority of the momentum is still looking short, right? So we know overall we should be looking to go short to this daily level here. Now, looking at the 4 hour, what do we see coming into the day? Right, we see that our last external sweep was actually to the lows here. So we trapped all of these. As you can see, sell stop orders right here. A bunch of buyers came in once retail started to try to sell, right? And then we can look to take out this liquidity point all the way up here. Once we have taken out these lows right here, we can actually now validate, right, this OB as an extreme. A lot of you are probably wondering why. That's because this has left a nice little imbalance, as you can see right here, right? And that imbalance allows me to validate this OB above. We can react in the imbalance, as we have seen right here. Price came up, tapped into that imbalance, came down, tapped into this once again, came all the way back up, and now we could do what? Possibly fall again after taking out these previous day lows, right? And we also know that the daily momentum is still looking short. So there's still a good chance that we can shorten this area here and keep going lower. All right, now let's jump into the 1 hour. All right, and see what was going on in the 1 hour with this. All right, so for the New York session, we had some pretty good trades come up. And just go ahead and finish off marking up this liquidity. I'm not going to really need that right now, actually. And it looks like we might have swept these highs here, equal distant highs. That's definitely going to get taken out. All right, so let's start to look around here, because this is where NY started to pop in. As you can see right here is around 8 a.m. Right, so this is where New York Open started. As you can see, price bought up, mitigated the imbalance, came right back down to this extreme again, and decided to move back up into this gray area. Let me just mark in. Now, these 15-minute highs and lows really are not needed, right? Remember I said you really do not need to mark these in. If you want the more higher probable trades, just stick to the color-coded 1 hour algo structure, because the algo structure is always going to be a lot more, I guess, probable than not over these 15-minute fractals. These 15-minute fractals can provide a lot of false signals. Anyways, let's hop right into the 1 minute and let's see what I was seeing earlier today. All right, so as you can see, I saw someone get this trade first thing in the morning, actually. If we look back in the VIP chat, someone actually took this, and I see why they took it, right? This, I did not consider this to be a sweep of the lows, right? And a lot of people did. The reason why I didn't is it wasn't clear enough for me. I couldn't really tell if these lows really got taken out, meaning I was unsure whether or not sell stop orders were getting triggered or not, right? Because I was unsure as to whether sell stop orders were getting triggered or not, I did see this change of character right here, right? But again, I decided not to take it only because I didn't assume this to be the sweep of the lows. If you did assume this to be the sweep of the lows, as you can see, this would have been your 1 minute refinement. As you see, this was the last place that left an imbalance before changing character, right? So this would have been your most optimal refinement in terms of grabbing gold longs right at the opening, right? And you would have targeted all the liquidity points, right? So TP1, that first M15 fractal, TP2, and then TP3 being that imbalance, right? So you would have maxed out at around a 1 to 7.3 R, which is generally pretty fucking good, right? Now come over here, we've now hopped in to this imbalance, right? And why is that important, right? Well, one, we also swept 15-minute fractal, so we know we can reverse. Two, what else do we know? We came in to all this area here in which caused the break of this low and this low. So I am expecting overall selling to occur in this area here, right? If we come in, what's going on after the sweep of this 15-minute fractal? We can see that we had 1, 2, 3 drives to the high, right? If we go back to those core foundational videos, that means we had SP1, SP2, SP3. I've said it multiple times, but I know a lot of people probably forget, so that's perfectly fine. But after SP3, right, we don't always necessarily have to wait for confirmation, right? We can simply just enter after that third drive, especially if we're already sitting in some sort of imbalance or OB, which is why you guys saw me taking entries at the very top right here. If you wanted a little bit more confirmation, if you're doing a funding challenge, wait for that change of character, right? And then as you can see, we build up this inside range, which I always talk about right here. And remember, if there's a liquidity buildup inside of the AMD cycle, it's a lot more valid than when there's a liquidity buildup outside of the AMD cycle. Actually, I've said this again, but if there's a liquidity buildup outside of the AMD cycle or post AMD cycle, right, there's actually more of a chance of this not mitigating and it actually blowing through and becoming a trap, right? I remember Euro USD had a setup today, but it built up too much liquidity, right? Remember, I was telling people that I was like, look, this thing's building up way too much liquidity. Don't take any positions, right? Because the likelihood is all this liquidity buildup is actually just going to trap a bunch of traders. So this was the first possible entry on gold today, right? You could have gotten that second entry all the way up here and or waited for that confirmation down here, right? Which these were my main positions today, were these shorts right here. I actually had my stops resting above these highs, right? And I took this all the way back down. Now, why did I decide to start buying up again? If we come out into the 15-minute or even hourly, I believe. It was on the 15-minute chart. Because we were constantly breaking these M15 fractal highs, I'd look to see if there was any imbalance remaining, and there was right here. Right, and if we look very closely, there's that slight imbalance coming in right here, validating this OB, right? What also is validating this OB are these breaks of structure right here on the N15 time frame, right? So if we hop back into the 1 minute again, first of all, can we scale in? Not that I see, right? There weren't that many scaling opportunities coming in here. However, the first opportunity I did see, because I want to go over some of the losses that happened today, right, was one like right here, right? First, we had that sweep. We did have a nice change of character. I even like that we had, as you can see, a liquidity buildup within the AMD cycle. This was a very valid, good setup. No question about it, right? It left this nice little liquidity buildup, right? Left this nice 1 minute OB on the bottom here. And as you can see, it left a nice little imbalance there. So I was aiming and looking to, capitalize on this position, right? What happened? Price actually came and decided to mitigate this, then go higher. I completely misread this and didn't see that this was behind it. Remember I said a smart money trap will trap, especially if there's an unmitigated 1 minute OB just resting right below it, which is like this right here, right? So a lot of the times we need to look back left and see if there's something resting below, which there was here, which is why this didn't work. I actually got trapped out and SL'd on this trade, right? Only thing I will say that went against it a little bit was that liquidity buildup post AMD cycle, right? Here we came up, it came and it built liquidity, right? These two little fractals right here told me that we were building liquidity to what? Go down, right? So that later told me that I needed to reduce risk on this trade. So I actually reduced my position to 0.25% rather than a full percent, right? But yeah, this would have been a nice little SL, but I want people still to understand that it's still a valid and quality setup, right? And that you should be taking trades like these, even though it's an SL, right? It is perfectly fine to SL. I SL all the time, but I'm still profitable. Anyways, we need to now break this low, right, in order to start finding more AMD cycles again. So here, It's where we finally break that low. Where do we continue? Right down to this low here. Do we change character? Nope. Then we come to this low. Did we change character? Yes. All right, now what are our two refinements here? Here's that inside range we're talking about. Now, if you remember correctly, not only can we take the inside range, but the inside range can also be used as inducement, right? So if you don't want to wait for the inside range and you want to wait more so for the extreme, you can. Very similarly, how did this built up liquidity to this, right? This would have been that inside range you could have taken, right? To mitigate to go higher. As you can see, price did try to go higher right here, but failed, right? And instead came to the extreme and just knocked that up. So I guess that's not really the best example. But as you can see here, right, it tried to buy off this inside range. It couldn't do it, but then it tapped into this, and this is what I actually entered, right? So I actually was looking at this while price was coming down into this OB. So I was like, oh, okay, there's a very good chance it's going to sweep this portion of liquidity here, before going higher. So in other terms, right, there's a very good chance we either would have had this position line like right here, right, with a really wide stop at around 22 pips, or we would have tightened that up, SL'd on that first one, right, and then recovered basically everything. And I closed this one out already. I closed out as soon as we took out these highs right here. That was my target. I didn't think this thing was actually going to fly the way that it did, right? But as you can see, this was really the basis of how gold moved today. And these were the only, what I have up on the chart right now are the only viable setups that occurred during New York, right? Like I said, there will be numerous trades for each pair throughout the day. You just have to, understand that you can take loss, right? Here's a loss here, here's a loss here, but look at the wins and the RR associated with those wins. They completely knock out your losers, right? That's why I always say, take every single setup. We'll go over these setups again. Here's 8 a.m., right? We induce previous day lows, right? We induce previous day lows. We know we need to come back up to the OB up here to push it back down, right? So my assumption is, okay, let's buy this thing up, sell it back down. I already have this assumption going for me, right? What did I put into trade ideas today? I guess it kind of did that. It came up, right? Took out this. It said it actually took out this portion here. Still made its way coming up, which I assumed. Now it's finally deciding to go back up again. So instead of it taking out this one, coming back down and going higher, it actually took out this. Then this thing up here came all the way back down, and then rocketed back up. All right, again, let's go over the validation of these trades one more time. Previous day lows got swept. We can look for that AMD cycle. I wouldn't have taken this personally. I've told you guys why. This looks like equal distant lows to me. This did not look like a sweep. So I would have stayed out of this trade. So I'm currently 0-0 on trades right now. But now, when does the market give us another opportunity, right? Well, did it give us the ability to scale in right here? I would have waited for it to come back down to this demand. No, we did not get a scale in opportunity. Now we come up, we swept, right? 15-minute highs. AMD cycle, no, swept 15-minute highs. AMD cycle, kind of, but it's not the best one, right? I do see the sweep of these highs and then the break of structure of these lows, but there's no fractals associated with it. Remember, the more probable moves are going to have fractals on them, right? So that's why I consider this SP1, SP2, SP3. Well, how did we know not to start shorting when, price broke this, then came back up to here and started shorting it? Well, when price came up to sweep these highs right here, right, that means we have to take out these lows. When price came out and swept these highs here, that means we have to come and take out these lows, which we never did until over here, right? Well, we then took out these highs. These highs were taken out by these lows. Once these lows got taken out, right, and considering all the confluence in our favor, right, so we have the AMD cycle. We also have the high time frame bias, which is short, so shorts are in our favor. We also have previous day lows that were taken out, this 4-hour extreme with an imbalance that came into play that tell us that price can start shorting down, right? We had 3 swipes to the high price cycle inducement to kind of confirm all this as well. There was just a lot of good confluence in this trade to tell me that this was going to short. Was this a high probability trade? No, it wasn't. I'm going to tell you why it wasn't. Because the 15-minute structure points, again, are not algo structure. The probability of this trade is lower than these shorts right here. Notice this one's a higher probability trade, per se. This was a clear sweep. If this was a clear sweep, this would be a high probability trade. We swept previous day lows, aka external liquidity, which is generally going to be a more so high probability trade than anything. We're also playing the algo structure. Is this up here also playing the algo structure? It absolutely is. This OB, this imbalance, is related to this previous day low, right? So because these two have a relation, then that means this is going to have some probability to it. Now, this has no relation to any sort of algo structure given on the chart. Why? Because we're strictly playing the breaks of these 15-minute highs. We're forgetting about all the selling pressure coming in here that's related to the algo structure that's actually going to take the majority of control. Probably wondering now, why did I buy right here? Right? Numerous reasons, right? I was expecting the buying to occur here no matter what. Two, I'm also expecting for fundamental reasons for gold to go up in the long term, right? I figured that this was going to be my main buy position. It was just going to ride all the way up. I thought this was just going to be a hedge sell. But no, we still came into this OB here, right? We came and mitigated that imbalance, right? This inside still had nice price cycle inducement coming with it, right? I would have played this. It's still a valid trade. Even though it's not highly probable because of this, it's still a valid trade. So we come back to this one over here. Is it highly probable? Probably the most probable trade that we have gone over today is this one. I would say this one if it's swept. These two would be the only high probable trades. This one and this one are a little bit less probable because we're not playing that algo structure, right? But they're still valid. People still need to understand that there's still validity to these, right? And it all is based on that same sweep, change of character, mitigation, right? Sweep, change of character, mitigation. It's the same thing happening over and over, and then this thing just fucking rocketed. Now, GU was really, really confusing today, and there were quite a bit of SLs on GU. All right, if we come in here, do a quick little analysis of GU, because I do have to meet with somebody in like 10 minutes here. We can see that the momentum is up in terms of the high time frame, top into the 4 hour. All right, bring these out. We can see at first we've already swept previous day highs right here. This is why I have my session breaks on so I can recognize that quicker. All right, we're now sweeping highs of the day. Sweeping highs of the day, and that is what caused that push down right here. All right. Hopefully me just doing these types of analysis for you really help you. I assume they didn't. I think I drew this one out on the trade ideas. I figured GU was going to short here. Yeah, right. I knew this thing was going to come up into any of this area after being here, come up and short, which is why, you know, I had that all drawn out right here. It came all the way up and now it came back down and shorted as I expected. We had this, and then all of this was imbalance. First, what's more probable, the imbalance or the OB? The OB, no question about it. The OB is the extreme. The imbalance is always going to be a little bit less probable. So understand that positions you take in here, you should risk less, whereas positions in here, you should risk more, right? That's all the algo structure. I just want to play the algo structure for right now. So let's go ahead and take a look. First things first, what did price come and take out? What validated all this? Price came and took out internal liquidity and lows of the day. 90% continuations, 50% chance right here. So as soon as we induced this, I knew once we induced this, we were going to reverse back into here and then start shorting back off again until taking out these lows to reverse back up, right? So let's get into it. First position that I saw today coming into GU, right? Here's 8 o'clock, right? I saw this sweep and we came and swept down here, right? This low was taken out by this high. Not a bad trade at all. Take it. This is not a bad trade, right? Unfortunately, we got trapped out, but this was a good trade on GU today. Was it high probability? No, it was orange, right? But it was still a valid, good trade. Come back down into it, right? Here we take out these lows, then we change character here again. I would have waited again for the mitigation of this. Price never came back down to mitigate. It's unfortunate. 1 SL on GU today. Like I said, today was really whack. Anyways, let's come back into here. We're now coming into the imbalance, right? I accidentally clicked that. Sweep, no change of character. Sweep, we have a change of character. But no imbalance, right? The only imbalance that there would be these highs. Can you take it? Yes, it's valid. Most definitely is valid, but the imbalance is always a little bit more risky. So that would be an SL. Today was really, really bad for GU. Anyways, sweep, no change of character. That was really messy. Sweep, no change of character. Sweep, change of character. I thought this was another beautiful trade. Look what happened. SL. We are now at 3 SLs in a row. Do we freak out? No, don't freak out. This type of things will happen. As you can see, we are following the rules. We're doing the same thing we always do. This is the first day I've seen in a really long time where I've seen just consecutive SLs just stack, right? We're doing nothing different. We're trading the same setups, right? We just cannot get upset about these types of losses. I didn't take this trade down here. I took this one and I took this one. Both were SLs today. Am I still profitable in the day? Yeah, I traded gold. So I made a shitload of money because of that, right? So I didn't have to worry about these SLs on GU. Did it mess with my psychology a bit though? Absolutely. When you take 3 or even just 2 L's in a row like that, it can really hinder your psychology, make you not want to trade anymore, right? Anyways, did this eventually confirm? Here's that last sweep. Here's that last change of character here. We know we can, what? React anywhere in here. I saw people getting this in here. I was waiting for the extreme, right? I was hoping that this high right here was going to be inducement into this area here, and I never got tapped. Price never came in, but I saw a lot of people getting these. Now, if you want to be more aggressive than me, you can use the Fibonacci. Here's a new refinement you can use. Once we have the sweep, once we have the change of character, go high to low, or this would be low to high, right? And what do? You just have to wait for price to retrace back into the 38.2 level to even start taking a position. So you could have started taking positions here. Just know that your stop loss is still placed up here. This probably would have only been a 1 to 3, 1.3.5, 1 to 3.5, right? So not crazy RR, but you're still on the right side of the market directionally. Yeah, I saw someone take this trade right over here. Good job. I think it was Playboy Charties. Congratulations. That was hype. And then it came and hit its target, right? Now, did we have confirmation to flip back up after this? Yeah, we had the sweep, change of character. We never came back down to mitigate. Unfortunate, right? Can we take sells in any of this area here? No, price already extended into here. We need to sweep these highs if we were going to think about even selling again, right? So now we have this and this as our range until we can start looking to do anything else with price. As you can see, I practically got nothing. on GU during New York. If anything, I just took loss. Am I going to go chase everything else in here? No, I accept it. I have to. All that's going to happen if I keep trying to chase and make back this money that I lost, I'm just going to lose more in all of this fucking nonsense. You do not want to get lost in it. If you get lost in all this, that's on you, right? You really have to keep a good psychology. We know this was a good trade. As long as you know you're trading a good setup, there's no reason to be upset. If you traded a bad setup and lost, yeah, pinch yourself a bit. You shouldn't be, right? Only take good steps. Even this setup right here, I wouldn't be upset with anybody taking because it's still valid, right? I still like the validity in this trade right here. Like we still came into this imbalance, still had the sweep, change of character, right? We came into the only place that we know that has imbalance in it. So 1.5 S. I mean, it would have been a fantastic trade if it worked out. But we just have to know that it was valid. It was valid. And we also have to remember, again, probabilities, right? Where was our highest probability trade? It was actually the one I took an SL on here, right? We came into the actual OB. We had that sweep. We had that change of character. I made a really nice demand stack, right? There was nothing wrong with this at all. There was nothing wrong with it, right? Really quick reaction, came back, come in, it just blew through it. Trap people out, and that's going to happen, right? Let's take a quick look at EU. Looks like what? We came in, took out daily highs right here. I can almost guarantee if we come look at these daily highs up here, we probably have some sort of change of character. Actually right here, believe it or not. So this gets swept right here. I didn't really talk about this refinement much, but whenever we have this 3-bar move, right, we can take this as the sweet change of character, and then this extreme be the mitigation. But I know a lot of us aren't going to be, or a lot of you aren't going to be playing that. More so, a lot of you are going to be playing, this is the sweep, this is the change of character, right? And then perhaps from there, you can take this as order flow. This left an imbalance, so it still remains to be valid, and it's within the AMD cycle. So if you were to play it safe, this sweep, this change of character, you more so would have gone this move here. And you're probably wondering, what about the proximity? The proximity doesn't matter when price leaves an imbalance like so in the AMD cycle. Also, if there is an inside range, right? This is just the refinement of that inside range. If you wanted to take that whole range, you could have, right? And it would have been more so like this, right? Whatever you're more comfortable doing. Then we would have traded all this all the way back down to here, right? Now, this is the trade I told people to stay out of. Why? We did have a nice sweep change character here. First of all, is this a highly probable AMD cycle? No, we didn't have a red fractal on the top, so it's not a highly probable AMD cycle. Second, what was the next thing wrong with it, right? Well, we did sweep previous day lows. We swept previous day internal liquidity, and we came into that imbalance here. The problem with it is that we saw this entire liquidity buildup happen right above it. Whenever price builds up liquidity post AMD cycle, it is going to fuck you 100 times over. It's going to happen a million times. We come all the way down here. Do we have any sort of AMD cycle? Sweep, 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 sweep. Change of character. Here we finally have it. Where would we have taken? Probably this right here, right? It looks like it didn't get tapped here, but is there an imbalance right in there? Could have had it all the way up to here where that imbalance finally stops. Yes, you could have gotten some longs here, right? This would have been a good position. You most likely would have started to go break even after these highs got taken. Once you got break even, it's up to you as to whether or not you want to take partials. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have hit the majority of my position all break even here. New York had the shittiest day for EU and GU. As you can see, EU had nothing, nothing, and a BE, all in New York. And then London was just fucking having a party. Anyways, let's come back to GU, right? So if you were trading EU, GU today, EU would have had one break even. GU would have had 3 SLs. So already right away, we already know EU and GU are fucking dead, right? Now, you could have gotten, like I said, these cells right here if you wanted to be a little bit more risky. But again, if you're playing the highest probable extremes, you would have hit 3 SLs. Come over to gold. Even with all that bullshit that happened with EU and GU, gold still would have recovered you, even after taking this loss and this loss here, right? So yeah, today was a really, really rough New York session. So if anyone had a really bad day today, please understand that today, days like these really fucking suck. Another thing to note, and I did talk about this briefly in the VIP chat, whenever Powell is speaking, not during, but more so before and after he is speaking, the market will always move differently, right? It will not respect the same technical analysis it always usually does. Now, during times of NFP, CPI, the market actually moves better. I don't really know the reasoning behind it, just through constant experience and back testing. It's just what I've seen. It's just very, very bad to be trading while Powell is even speaking that day, because then bullshit with EU, GU happens, right? Why do I like Asia so much? A lot of people have been asking me. There's no news. So it's just pure price action, right? There's nothing affecting my analysis. So I hope today's breakdown was at least a little bit helpful and gave you guys a little bit more of a vote of confidence. As you can see, gold really was the best thing to be trading today. EU and GU were just an absolute slap on the wrist. I mean, there's not much we can really do to avoid situations like that. But all I can say is keep taking the same setups over and over. Just be patient. Don't force trades, right? Because the more you force trades, you have fun. Like any type of psychological issue you're enduring right now is most likely the reason why you're not profitable. If you're not profitable or can't pass a challenge, right? I feel like most of you understand everything conceptually, which is great. But anyone can really understand these concepts. It's really not rocket science. The hardest part, again, is really just that psychological aspect of things. And, over time and just with experience of forward testing all this, it does become a lot easier. I will say, as you do build up more capital and you gain more money, trading gets 10 times easier because you're not worried about making money in the market. You're just worried about getting one good position. All I worry about in 1 month's time is hitting 1 to 3, and I'm set for the month, right? So that's why I don't stress about like certain positions, or if I don't take a position, like I simply just wait. And I wait, and I always say it on my Instagram story: just sit on your hands. Like it's the biggest superpower you can have is sitting on your hands and just looking and watch. Like I don't know what you will do, whatever you have to do to take up the time on the charts. Like I mean, don't stay focused and look at the charts 100%, but I don't know, do something else to maybe not make you trade or something. Because I see a lot of people taking unnecessary positions, things that are like in here, like, oh, are these continuations right here? Like, yeah, but they're not good. It's not a highly probable trade. You can take trades all in these breaks of structures and try and continue it down, but you're forcing that, right? If you just wait, notice where I'm taking positions are mainly at the extremes of price, right? And as you can see, this was not really at the extreme. Well, I guess that's the reason why it didn't work out so well, right? They also, well, we went over this, but it didn't work out so well because these are 15-minute structure breaks, not huge algo structure breaks, right? Now, say this was a 1 hour structure break of orange or gray, 100% I would have loaded up a lot more on this position, right? I'm telling you guys, if you haven't watched through all the videos from the beginning to the end, please do, because I really do. I did it purposely to where I'm constantly adding in, newer and more complex refinements as we go. There are more things I have to show you guys in terms of refinements, especially when it comes to the seconds time frame, and I will get to it. But what I notice happens is when I introduce something new, people stop studying the basics and foundations, such as like injections, which I actually still do use. But they are all important. I promise you, everything that I show you has importance, right? And I really try and make it as clear as I possibly can. But other than that, yeah, it was pretty much a breakdown of pretty much everything today. Again, this was just a really fucked up day. It happens. I knew this was going to short here. It just didn't give a good quality setup, unfortunately. So anyways, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys in Asia. So in the next 4 hours. Peace.